Hey guys! Welcome for another episode of HR Shouts and Whispers. Siyempre, episode number 78 na tayo. And ang topic natin for tonight, defining the purpose of the HR department. Siyempre, my name is Ken Somera and ang main host natin, Cristina Reclamado. Hi Chris! Long time absent ako last week. Kumusta?
Well, Ken, okay, so busy Saturday. So I think before this, when we were offline, so March 2020. Okay, so I can never forget March 2020 because March 17, okay, on March 17, 2020, okay, nag-declare ng enhanced community quarantine ECQ.
Mhm.
Okay, and so everyone was actually grappling, okay, to make sense of what was happening. So after 1 year, okay, may pagbabago ba? So yun. So anyhow, okay, we're still getting questions and we decided to have this episode. Okay. So this is actually going back to the basics. Okay. And we have here, okay, our guest. Okay, so I'll start with beauty first. Okay, we'll have George Ramos. Okay. Hi, George. How are
Ay,
you?
di mo na ako dapat guess, di ba? Tanong nga ako. Pero
No, so
sige,
actually,
yeah, I'll do double hat na lang. Do double hat.
Actually, George is also a moderator of HR Shouts and Whispers. Okay, hindi siya guest. Okay, but he is actually also one of the subject matter experts now. Okay, and then okay, we have okay. Well, the former he is one of the former PMAP presidents. Okay, and is also a book author and a speaker on HR strategy. Hi, Mr.
Hello, hi.
Ernesto. Yeah, Mr. Ernesto Espinosa. Hi,
Oh,
Ernie.
hi. Just call me Ernie.
Mm-hmm.
Ernesto is what my mom uses when she's mad at me.
So we better not call you Ernesto. Okay, we're not mad at you, Ernie. So
Thank you.
I'm glad that you were able to take the time out of your busy schedule to be with
It's
us.
my it's my pleasure.
And of course, okay, so we have one of the most popular, okay, the most popular social media. I think he's one of the influencers in the HR communities. And he's also now, okay, what the managing director of Ofisina Resources. Okay, Mr. Rodel Ancot.
Hi everyone, good evening.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. So we will be talking about defining the purpose of the HR department. So yeah, so we will start the ball rolling with this question. So a lot of people, okay, because a lot of people have decided, okay, during the pandemic, naglabo-labo na. Okay, so everyone got disconnected and etc. And then there are some small to medium owners, okay, business owners, they said, "Oi, I actually am doing the HR function." Okay, so is it still necessary to have an HR department?
You're asking me?
Yes, Ernie, you can no,
Okay.
alphabetical daw.
Uh, yeah, most definitely. You cannot survive without HR.
And of course, okay, we would like to invite our viewers. If you're not yet a subscriber, I'd like to invite you on our YouTube channel. So our past FB lives are there. Okay, so you can just browse through. Okay, so it's a documentation of all our interviews since, okay, even before the pandemic. We started October 2019. Okay, we're slowly uploading those episodes on YouTube. So why don't you subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber? www.youtube.com/HR and Whispers. Yeah. And if you have still a lot of questions on your mind, please don't hesitate contacting us, okay, or posting your questions on HR Shouts and Whispers.
And when you take a look at the competency levels, you have basic, competent, advanced, and then expert. No, and it will probably take about 25 years for you to reach the advanced level. No? So you can probably run HR, but not so well as the other more successful companies. So my answer to that question is it's impossible not to have HR.
And what are those skills, or what are those tasks that it's really impossible not to give to HR early?
Probably the nitty gritty, no, but the more sensitive functions, because when you take a look at the entire spectrum, you have at least five major functions. You have recruitment, talent acquisition. You have training and development. You have compensation and benefits. You have employee labor relations and workplace safety. And the sixth would probably be outside of the employee, which is organization development. So outside of those functions, probably you can give to non-HR people.
And let's go to D. Okay, so D, you have been doing HR and OD
Yes.
community volunteer work. Okay, so what are the most common questions that are being asked of you during the pandemic?
Actually, most of my clients no are into job redesign. No, they really want to shorten the processes in order for the company to save no expenses. And we all know that each processes that we have no connotes expenses as well and cost. Kaya ang dami-dami na gusto na ayaw naman nila magbawas ng tao, kaya ang ginagawa nila ng strategy is to shorten the processes, and those people that they could save no ilagay naman sa proper and right task that they would like to align. And also no, I also agree with Ernie no with regards to importance ng HR kasi until now if everybody must know no Dave Ulrich, napaka-significant pa rin ni Dave Ulrich ngayon. It only means na HR is very significant nowadays. Yun nga lang no true na there are clients that I have na nasa small and medium enterprise na medyo hindi talaga siya department. Pero tama din si Ernie na kapag wala kang masyadong enough manpower to do the task ng HR, medyo hindi siya ganun ka-effective kasi nagmo-multitask na yung mga tao. So maganda na may focus no for each of the ventures. Depende sa size, pero I would agree na sana enhance pa nila yung skills when it comes to delivering the roles of HR.
Okay, so we'll go to George because George is an org development specialist. Okay, do you think that org development can be given to a non-HR person?
Nako, definitely not. OD kasi is it's again, it's much like what Ernie said, no? It takes time and a lot of mistakes for you to develop that certain competency, both for HR and especially for organizational development. Mas mahirap pa nga for OD kasi kay OD, you're actually looking at balancing both operations, cost, finance, and the HR delivery function and change management. So all of that has to be very meshed. I like what Dee said a while ago. Na tamang-tama ipa-plug ko lang din. No? Sabi nga niya, Professor David Ulrich is very relevant right now. Last week we had him as a guest dito, di ba? So kumbaga we streamed one of his talks, no. And ako and flowing from what Ernie said a while ago, why HR is very very important right now is HR acts as an enabler to partner with the business. And when we say how do you become an enabler as to partner with the business, lahat ng mga negosyo ngayon are into cost savings mode. So anong pwedeng gawin ni HR dun sa standpoint na yon, no? You can actually help no in facilitating the change in the organization so that people can be more conscious. For example, sabi nga ni Dia, very tangible change that needed to happen in his area was how can the Java developers make work much more efficient? So how can HR help in facilitating that efficiency? So from a performance management standpoint, ikaw ang mag-guide. From a pay and reward standpoint, ikaw ang tutulong. No? And at the same time, from a leadership development standpoint, paano mo i-guide yung mga managers to help people become better leaders, no, dun sa workplace. So ang laking role ngayon ng HR, sa totoo lang.
Okay, so it's been 1 year, okay, into the pandemic, okay. So, but the thing is, okay, that even if like the problems are repetitive, okay, uh, I have this thinking kasi na at least, okay, you get to perfect, okay, certain processes, okay, or certain reactions, okay, that happen, okay. So like, kasi I always look back to that date, March 17, nakatatak na yun sa memory ko. Because I remember, okay, when that happened, so we had so I was part of the upper management, and then we had line managers. However, our line managers, because they were panicking themselves, because they had relatives and family members who they suspected of having COVID. So ano sila, they were actually stunned and they couldn't move. Okay, kasi they had a lot in their mind. Okay, so going back, okay, and given what you have seen and being discussed on the forum or on the fora, okay, what can you say could HR have done better? So, like for example, D, ikaw,
Hmm.
okay. Sa tingin mo, what could HR have done better?
Ako, Ma'am Chris, hinayang talaga ako with all honesty last March, yung inventory ng mga skills and competencies. Kasi nakita naman natin di ba? Matagal nang sinasabi din ni Dole na mag-telecommuting law kayo, pero walang gumawa ata. Kasi if you have the inventory of skills, makakagawa ka ng flexibility matrix. You can easily identify people. O ikaw diyan ka lang sa bahay mo, kung may skills ka na about, let's say, bookkeeping, ito na lang yung pinakamalapit sa opisina yung magtatrabaho para hindi na lumuluwas yung mga tao na identify na kami pang provinces pa. No, mas maganda na na nagkaroon ng ginamit sana natin yung data na meron tayo sa HR. Hindi lang siya yung nag-gather lang natin yung training needs analysis, na-identify lang natin yung competency. So what pa ba yung pwede natin magawa doon? But make other people flexible. Yun sana yung kung nagawa lang sana natin yun, it's easier to execute yung work from home, yung flexibility ng mga tao kung saan siyang task na pwede i-assign. Kasi ganun din naman yung nangyari in the end. So that's my take lang last March.
Maybe you should be hired by the government. I don't think there is competence in the government. And I think you just talked about skills mapping, which we don't have. Diba?
Actually, I actually remember kasi yung mga dates kasi what happened was, okay, so we had, well, this is what was happening internally in our company, okay. As early as December, we had a couple of clients, okay. They were already telling us about that mysterious virus. That didn't have a name, okay? So that was December 2019, okay? So we had a planning with our clients, and then they would say there's a mysterious virus, okay? Because our clients are Singaporeans and from China, so there's a mysterious virus. So I think that we have to be more conservative for 2020. So that's what they told us. And then come January 20, there was a Filipino that was confirmed who had the coronavirus. And then in February, I remember that a couple of blocks from our office, there was a scare because somebody, okay, kasi our office is in BGC. So there was somebody who was diagnosed with who was suspected and eventually diagnosed of coronavirus. So yung suggestion ni D, we were not doing skills mapping, but we were actually mapping the resources. Kasi what we did was we surveyed sino yung may internet sa bahay, okay, at ano yung speed niya, and kasi since he's going to do that amount of work, how much will we release, okay, as a benefit to augment his internet subscription. kumbaga magle-level up kasi siya ng internet subscription. Diba? So that's what we were doing. And then we also actually did yung resources nila sa bahay and the resources of the office. Okay, sino yung may laptop? And then how many laptops are in the office? Okay, that can be actually that can be repaired or refurbished so that they can be given to the employee. Yun. And eventually, all their desktops, we gave it for their use sa bahay nila. So that's what we were doing. Pero with regards to skills mapping, kasi it's actually we were naman ongoing with our training. But anyway, let's go to George. Okay. What could HR have done better in terms of communication?
Yan, very good, no? So, ako naman, in terms of communication, ito yung napansin ko because we were thrust into an emergency situation. No one really wanted this to happen, especially when the lockdown was declared. But there were signs already. As you've said, Chris kanina, di ba? You were having talks already that there was this virus. Ako, what HR could have done better was, it may sound negative, no? Pero we could have communicated better by since tayo talaga yung inaasahan ng business no? We could have communicated earlier. We should have not waited for the DOH. We should have not waited for the IATF. Sa totoo lang, why I'm saying this, because I have clients na I had to serve during the pandemic, nung height ng pandemic, and we were creating all these things, no? Safety protocols, at the same time pati BCP. So mas mahirap gawin, no? And then there were casualties. Yun yung hindi ko maano na sana as HR sana, we already knew that this thing was dangerous Bakit pa natin inantay yung sinabi ng DOH? Bakit pa natin inantay si Duterte na mag-lockdown? We very well knew na we could have sent our employees home as early as January pa lang. Nakikita na natin na mag-activate na tayo ng BCP planning natin. This is gonna get worse. Knowing kung paano tayo gumalaw sa Pilipinas na mabagal, ngayon nga hindi natin ma-manage We don't know where it's coming from, di ba? So we already have the signs So as HR, proactive yan. We should have told management na, hey, management, I want to be honest with you. This is gonna go worse. It's really going to go bad. At the end of the day, mas mahihirapan ka. Ngayon pa lang, i-activate na natin ang BCP. I-activate na natin yung mga safety protocols. And we should have communicated that way more aggressively. So ako yun yung ano ko That's how I could, if you were to ask me, based on what happened the past year, ganun dapat yung ginawa.
Okay. So yes, so yun na, yung BCP is the Business Continuity Plan, okay? For the benefit of our viewers, that's what the acronym means, okay? So Ernie, okay, so this is actually this task, okay, of preparing for a crisis cannot be done alone by HR. So can you tell us, okay, so what kind of people are needed for this? Okay, so who should HR coordinate with in the company?
I think there should be an expert in practically all levels that are technical in nature, no, and those that are medical related. So it should not be on HR alone, but for instance, science, no, like in the United States, they always listen to Dr. Fauci. So something like that.
So there should be like a pool of subject matter experts in the organization that should assist HR.
Yes, very much like a symphony orchestra. I think that organizations now should be flatter, no? And so just like an orchestra, you should be able to equip the organization with so many talents in various areas.
Yes. So it's actually a committee. So itong business continuity, okay, program. Okay, so there is a group of experts in the organization, and actually they're activated into a committee and they have their certain functions. So actually doon ako nagulat because at the start of the pandemic, okay, so everyone went home, okay? Most of uh, forgive me, okay, but most of the people who were asking questions, I didn't get any any inkling or any parang activity from other professionals, okay? What I got from the other professionals was just parang expression of their frustration and their fear, okay, and of their criticism of the government. However, with HR professionals, they were busy, okay, getting information on what to do. Okay, so that's what I observed from the fora. Okay, madami yan. Okay, I will not mention them. Okay, but there were a lot of questions, and it seemed like it was the HR practitioner. It was the HR practitioners who were researching on what to do and were actively seeking information. Anyhow, okay. So I'll go back to D, okay, because he's very much active in social media. Okay. So D, so what can you say about the activity of professionals, okay, and HR practitioners in the public fora? Ano ba ang tinatanong nila and ano ba ang kino-comment nila?
Well, mostly, ma'am, no, kahit even if no, may magbigay na ng protocol yung government natin, kikita mo naman talaga sa atin, no, we have different way of understanding even if written na siya talaga. Pero we cannot blame naman everyone kasi nga maybe yung comprehension level natin is totally different. Even naman yung sa mga legal, di ba? Ang dami ring interpretation. Yun nga lang, as I have observed, no, people may tend to twist yung topic away from it and they tend to become more subjective na, no? So yun lang din yung napapansin ko, sorry sa iba na sa social media, na unlike before, no? Like, ako before that we started here, no? Idol ko kasi si Ka Ernie eh. Siya yung, siya yung kauna-unahang icon ng HR nung third year college ako, no? When he started with JP Map, no? First General Assembly ng JP Map,
Pinapatanda mo ko niya.
Oh,
Ay,
ano pa
sino
yun,
yung
ha?
matanda dito? Sino yung matanda?
Wala pala. Erase. So, no, before kasi, no, i-compare ko lang, no, nung wala pa yung social media, doon kasi, no, meron yung Job Street ng forum. Job Street also partner naman ni HR SHOUTS, no. May mga email forum before. Ang gaganda talaga ng mga responses. Actually, piniprint ko pa yan. Eh. Umabot ako ng mga 2 reams niyan. No? Although yung cost naman nun may return sa company. Pero right now kasi masyadong casual yung response, yung parang hindi siya ganun ka formal before. So hindi niya papansin ko. When it comes to content naman, yung technicalities, no? It could have been done easier kung kung alam lang sana ng mga tao kasi may mga gagandang sagot sa mga forums. Kung alam lang, ako paulit-ulit ko sinasabi sa mga students, no, if they want to understand about overtime, for example, click lang nila yung lens na icon, type lang nila doon, no, lalabas na yung thread. Makikita na nila yung mga inquiries nila, no. So sometimes no, mapapagulo din kasi sa discussion yung masyadong minsan ulit-ulit yung question pero nandoon lang naman din yung answer sa content na yan. So yun yung observation ko. Yes.
Permission to cut you, no?
Go.
Can I ask, what do you think has changed from 20 years ago when we were doing Judge Street versus the fora of today?
Well, to be honest, people are more...
You can be honest.
People are more respectful before and professional. So when they communicate well, talagang andun yung details, no? At walang bashing.
but you know what? One thing significant is this, no? Nobody right now pays attention to detail. They like to do everything fast. And even if you come up with long articles, they will not read them.
Yeah.
They prefer one statement post and then read and then off they go. That's what they do, which is disappointing.
I agree. Most of some, maybe some na lang, para hindi na mabahas, practitioners, instead of them looking at the IITF guidelines, mag-ask na lang sa iba eh. Meron ba kayong policy na ganito? Alam mo yan, kaya pang nangyayari dyan, pag in-explain naman nila sa tao nila, hindi na nila alam. Babalik na naman ulit sila sa forum, bakit nagkaganito? Diba? Parang, I agree. No? Observation lang naman ito. So, we are not blaming naman anyone.
You don't have to be politically correct.
No, I just asked that question. I actually included that question for this evening because, actually, even up to yesterday, it was like after I watched the news. Okay, so I will just say it. Okay, when I watched the news, I got more depressed because it seemed like we were back to square one. Okay, so actually, ako na lang eh. Ni-reframe ko na lang yung sarili ko na baka, okay, since we were actually back to square one and then this is like a repeat of like last year, then maybe we can actually like retrace our steps and then redo certain things. Okay. However, while I was like doing my reflection, I was surprised. I got a question, okay, from my chats, okay, and it's actually deja vu because not only was I thinking of what happened for 1 year, okay, but the question was exactly the same that I got since March 2020, okay. Guess what the question was? It had something to do with overtime work, okay. Nagbabayad ba ng overtime sa work from home? So that was the question, okay? So it got me talking to the person why it wasn't understood because there were a lot of discussions on that topic. Okay. And it turned out because the line managers, HR understood, okay? But the line manager, these are the non-HR professionals who are promoted to managerial, supervisorial, or the team leaders. They have a different understanding, which they got from the fora. But before going into that, Ernie, what is a line manager ba? What is that person? Let's define
Okay.
that.
Okay. First, let me define management.
Mhm.
Management is getting things done through other people. So, in other words, there is no direct physical contact between the manager and the employee. There is a person in between so that he delegates. So, that is what the manager does. In the case of HR naman, as what George said, it's an enabler. HR is an enabler. So the main purpose is really to enable line managers to be successful so that they will be able to grow the business. Yeah, that's it.
So the line managers are these team leaders, okay, managers and supervisor. Okay, for the
Yes.
rest, yes, for the rest of the panel this evening, okay, when it comes to motivation, okay, and coaching, who does that? Is that HR or the line manager?
Would you like to answer?
Oh, sir, if may condition ako eh. If highly skilled na or competent na yung mga line leaders, they should be the one doing it. Kasi sabi nga ng boss ko no, sa HR, actually father niya sa UP, no, Veraya yung surname niya. Sabi niya, yung line leader dapat meron silang karapatan mag-promote at magtanggal din ng tao para yung empowerment nila nasa kanila. Kasi if tayo na sa HR na before, diba, all style na may naka-centralize sa atin, wala na tayong matatapos din na lahat na sa atin na mix up lang din. And people will not respect their land leaders. Kasi tayo na lang ipupuntahan nilang palagi. And at the same time, di natin nakikita yung mga trabaho naman ng down the line nila. Kasi hindi naman natin sila directly na supervise or na-observe kung yung mga accomplishment nila. So if competent, yung mga line leaders, the reason why there are training needs analysis, training skills nila, sila dapat.
Okay. Can I react to that?
Yes,
I
please.
will not make the distinction.
Mm.
It should always be line managers because HR people should only support. So, in other words, if you're not competent, I will fire you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
that's my take on that. Line managers are supposed to be the ones to discipline and reward employees. And HR should be the ones to support them. That's a distinction.
Okay. And
Sobrang,
George,
sobrang
okay.
agree. Sobrang agree. 100%. No? Why? Because sabi nga nung boss ko nung dati sa HR, all managers should be mini HR managers. Bakit?
Yes.
Kasi the managers should know eh. Alam mo yung reward, yung pay determination ng tao mo. Alam mo yung performance niya. 'Di ba? Ikaw dapat magbibigay ng feedback. Ikaw ang nakakaalam ng trajectory ng tao. In fact, kaya nga kailangan pati alam mo yung legal, yung motivational aspect, and HR facilitates. Now, tama naman din yung sinabi ni D kasi may mga managers na talaga sobrang hilaw na pag pinakawalan mo talaga sila, no, nagiging detrimental to the organization. That's why ang HR naman, does the hand-holding in order for this manager, no, to be able to get up to speed and become better. Pero tama din na, kasi ikaw nga yung mini HR manager dapat kaya ka nga manager kaya nga mataas yung pay grade mo Alam mo yan. Pati nga computation dapat alam mo yung computation. Inis ako nung dati when managers would come and would ask, ano bang magandang increase dito? Dapat hindi ganun, baligtad. No, baligtad. Dapat ang manager ang magbibigay sa HR na, oy, eto yung nakikita kong increase based dun sa computation.
Exactly.
'Di ba? Nung competitive objective natin. Tapos tayo ang HR makikipagdebate. Hindi pa pwede 'yan. Kasi ganito 'yan So I think that's a healthier relationship.
That's right.
Instead of 'di ba, tayo yung lalapit sa itong proposal ko At the end of the day, paano kung kunyari na-demotivate yung tao, kaninong kasalanan? The HR ang may kasalanan. Hindi ganon. No? So it's a shared obligation for all. No? So yun yung doon But tama din siya sabi ni D, pag may mga immature, kailangan talaga i-handhold. Doon tayo susuporta That's why we're supportive of them.
Actually, yun nga yun just to continue on yung kay George, okay? Ang pinaka-pet peeve ko na question is, magkano ba ang increase na allowed ng labor code? Laging tinatanong sa akin. Yun ang pinaka, di ba? I mean, well, okay. So, we have decided, kasi nasa yan capacity to pay and be able to sustain, yung sustainability ng increase, okay? So, dapat hindi tinatanong sa atin yan. At the same time, okay, at the start of the fiscal year, di ba, nag-uusap tayo as a team, okay? And then, for salaries, okay, we talk about budgets and yung allocation ng budget. So, dapat hindi na tinatanong. So, ang actually, nakita ko rin siya sa forum na ang tinatanong is, ano ba ang allowed ng labor code? Okay? Kasi sa akin, pagka gano'n na yung tanong, ang iniisip ko na dyan is, naghahanap na lang siya ng workaround. So, workaround are shortcuts. Okay? Ito yung sinasabi ni Ernie na, ang gusto na lang nila is makuha. Parang yung nagtanong sa school, di ba? Parang may, kung halimbawa, algebraic equation, okay, tatanong na lang sa'yo yung answer. Pero, ang tamang process is, sasabihin mo sa kanila kung paano i-operationalize yung equation na yon. Tapos sila yung magbigay ng sagot. Pero, yung gusto nila, yung sagot na. So, pagka mali, sa HR ang blame. So, yun hindi naman natin iniiwasan yon. It's just that kasi, depende yun sa, number one is, ano yung goal ng line manager para sa tao niya? Okay? Kasi sometimes it's not the monetary reward, okay? But you cannot compensate kung halimbawa ang need ng tao is something it's something psychological support, okay? Or pangit ka na boss, lagi mo siyang minumura, hindi mo siya pwedeng i-reward ng pera kasi may clash yun, okay? So, may mga ganong issues. Anyway, so let's go back. So, with regards to creating a better culture, okay, sa company, okay, kasi it all boils down whether you go work from home or in your office. Wala namang problema yung arrangement, okay? But with regards to having a better culture, kaninong function yun? Yung positive culture na sinatawag natin, with regards to creating a positive work environment, kaninong function yun? George?
Chris, clarify ko lang. You're referring to positive culture or positive environment dito
Positive.
sa pandemic or even without the pandemic?
Even without the pandemic.
Okay. So yung positive culture, I don't know if you would agree with me, pero tone from the top yan. So again, it belongs actually to the
That's right.
executives.
Yes.
No, it should be coming from the executives. No, it should be coming from the leaders of the organization. Now, how you will actualize and communicate yan. Shared responsibility na yan. Tulong-tulong na yan. Paano gagawing tangible ni HR yan? So, yung positive culture kasi, that has to be defined. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng positive culture? No, as executives of an organization, yung mga stakeholders will have to define ano ba ang gusto natin when it comes to positive culture. And when we say ano ba yung gusto natin, dapat it has to answer to business objectives pa din. So for example, the positive culture has to flow from safety. Kunyari, safety tayo ngayon, ang positive culture na gusto natin is safety. Bakit natin gusto? Because when we're safe, we can work better. So may ganun siya, di ba? So now from there, eto na ngayon. Lahat ng leaders will have to pitch in and come up with how are we going to articulate this positive model of safety in the organization. Tapos yung HR naman, sasalalay pagdating dun sa, sige, paano natin aayusin in terms of rewards? Paano natin aayusin in terms of performance ito? Paano natin ibibigay yung script sa mga leaders pag reinforce nito? No? So parang tulong-tulong talaga siya. So kung tatanungin niyo ako, yun, parang ganun yung approach, no? Para at least to set it up ng maayos.
So it's top down, okay? Kasi pag wala kang suporta sa taas, hindi whatever interventions you do, hindi rin siya magagawa kasi walang suporta from the owners.
Can I add to that? The effort should be top-led, line managed, and staff supported. It is always the CEO who sets the stage when it comes to culture. He probably would get the help from line managers and also HR. So that's how you get things done.
Okay.
Tsaka ako naman, ma'am, add ko lang, no? Isama na rin natin may-ari ng kumpanya. Kasi casually nangyayari, wala sila sa org chart, pero araw-araw sila na sa organization. Sila pa minsan yung nagsisira ng, diba? Sila pa yung nakakasira ng culture. No, I agree with what Sir George and Carly has said. No? Medyo candid lang ako ngayon kasi nakikita ko din kasi pag sa mga client ko. Pero di ko na pangalanan. Pero naman, naayos yun Naayos naman namin yon. Hello nga pala sa mga client ko. No? Lalo na kapag family-oriented, naayos talaga siya. Ang maganda lang doon, you sit down together kasi nga, tama Sir George, you shared responsibility, it creates ownership sa lahat. So maganda na meron din tayong scorecard. No? Yung nakikita natin concretely at na may measure. Kasi napakahirap din na verbal team lang natin sasabihin, positive culture tayo ngayon Tapos, paano na yung magiging path natin o paano natin nire-record o din-document na we are doing the right path doon sa mga initiatives natin for positive environment.
It's a good thing you mentioned that, no? Because I am a firm believer of balance scorecard.
Yeah. Mm.
I use it as a tool, especially in transforming the organization culture.
So,
By the way, I would like to emphasize, many call it organizational structure, organizational diagnosis,
Mm.
organizational something. It is organization, not organizational. You know the answer? Why is it so? D, you're
Why,
my
sir?
student. You're my student. You should know the answer. Why do you have to call it organization development and not organizational development? There is a big difference. Why?
Because for me, sir, wise guess, ano lang, wise guess is when we talk about organization to development, talks about the holistic approach, no? Because of the term that we are using.
Okay, my simple answer is this. When you do management audit, there are three aspects of an organization: financial,
Mm.
operational, organizational. So when you talk of financial, you talk about profitability, solvency, liquidity. When you talk about operational, you talk about all the aspects of what should be done in order to for the company to be successful. But organizational, you're talking of functions, roles, duties, and responsibilities. So when you talk about organizational development or organizational structure, you are not talking about the organization, but only one aspect of the organization. That's the difference.
so
Liwanag?
Mm.
everyone kasi says organizational development
Mali
kasi
yon, mali. That is wrong.
kasi feeling nila kasi yung adjective. What kind of development?
No,
Organizational.
no, it's not. It's not phonetics.
Mm.
It's really more talking about the enterprise
As a
or
whole.
the company. When you say organization, it's the whole enterprise. When you talk about organizational, you talk about key functions, duties and
Yes.
responsibilities, roles, etc.
Alam mo,
There is a big difference.
I couldn't agree more, no. Kaya ako ginagamit ko organizational development kasi nga yun yung title na sikat, no. Pero kung tatanungin mo ako, it's really about the organization, no. And alam mo, Ernie, ano ako kasi may ako selective ako sa clients ko. Typically kasi using the balance scorecard, if I see that the client is not aligned in terms of thinking, inaayawan ko yan. Kasi alam ko hindi makakatulong, sayang lang yung oras ko. No?
Yeah.
I mean, my time will be wasted fixing. Kunyari, the client is always thinking about profits or customer lang. Pero wala siyang pakialam sa processes, wala siyang pakialam sa operations, wala siyang pakialam sa tao. Hindi ko na kinukuha yan. Kasi alam ko they will fail. They will fail.
Yeah.
Isang tingin mo pa lang tama. You know, you were perfect when you said about the balance scorecard. Financial, operations, processes, and the customer. If you can't factor that in, if you can't see an organization that way, and nakikita mo may mga problema, and the owner or the person who's driving it is not willing to fix it, don't partner with that person. It's going to fail. Sayang ang oras, sayang kikitain mo. So ako, I definitely wouldn't, especially for the young HR professionals. No, I'm not saying na wag kayo mag-partner, but you have to make sure that you really drive it kasi ang laki ng effort niyan.
By the way, George, there is a fifth dimension being introduced in the balance scorecard, particularly in financial institutions. And you know what it is? Compliance.
Tama. Compliance and risk. Tama ka. Yes. Risk and compliance management. Totoo yun.
Yes.
Galing.
Magaling ka rin.
Mm.
You make a lot of sense. Buti hindi ako nabobobusan niyo.
Solid.
Masada ba kami lahat?
Masaya.
Okay.
Pasado kayo lahat.
So
Salamat.
Ken,
Yeah.
can you were about to say something.
Yeah. Sige. Tungkol yun sa culture kanina eh. Kanina na pag-usapan, di ba? Nagsisimula yung top-down. Di ba? Kasi in terms of like creating a strong positive culture, titingnan natin how it began. 'Di ba? Kaya nga ang sabi, 'di ba, owner, CEO, 'di ba, ang laking factor eh. Kasi in terms of getting to yung department ko learning, 'di ba? Mind and learning. Kumbaga, ang bata, pag 7 years old o bata talaga, how do we learn? We look up to our parents, to our environment. Nahuhulma tayo ng environment eh. So dun pa lang sa simula, pag kung ano yung nasimulan na environment, usually based on their personalities and their vision ng CEO and ng owner, yun yung malaking factor ng behavior. No? Minsan, tignan natin yung ganito, napag-usapan din kanina na kahit gusto nilang baguhin, kahit mag-meeting na kayo, kahit mag-announce na kayo, hindi siya ganun kabilis na babago. Kasi na-embed na yung behavior, na-embed na yung habit eh. Right? So, maganda humulma ng solid na culture when the company is starting. Or habang, kuwari, meron na kayo nagawang magandang culture, tapos sobrang pumangit bigla, maayos nyo yun moving forward pag nag-hire na kayo ng bago on how you get to indoctrinate the new hires. Pero ang problema kasi natin doon, pag meron ng mga bad habits doon sa loob ng company mo, mag-i-spread pa rin yung bad habits.
That's why you call me, because I terminate people.
Yeah, cut mo na yan, di ba?
No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I just wanted to lighten up the mood.
Yeah, meron tayong question, no, from Sarah Jane Santillan. Oh, hi muna tayo sa mga friends natin watching. Hi kay Mega, hi kay Sarah, hi kay Michelle, and hi kay HRMD Juan. So, ang question ni Sarah, ay who should be providing benchmarks for a role within the industry? And how and where can we get that on our own? So, yun.
Benchmarks.
Chris, can I answer that?
Oh, yes, Ernie.
You know, there was a time in 1998 and 1999 when I was president for 2 terms in the semiconductor and electronics industry. So what I did among the Japanese companies, I formed a group, and on a monthly basis, we would meet, we would have dinner, and we would do benchmarking. So in that during that dinner, we share information about several data. So that was how I obtained some vital information. Yeah.
Yun. Thank you. Ako, syempre, the one who asked, ako, tinitingnan ko yung tanong baka salary data yata ang pinag-uusapan or benchmarking. No? Syempre, kung mayaman yung kumpanya, you can certainly purchase the salary benchmark. No? You can enroll in some of these companies like Towers, diba? Or whoever else. No? But, if wala ka naman left to your own devices, yun, sabi ni Ernie kanina, very good yun. Ako, you join networks. No? So for example, DMAP, or for that matter, BPAP, or other networks wherein you have to play an active role, especially, kunyari, let's say katulad ni D, if you're into the software type of business, join ka sa grupo nila Jonathan Luceriaga, no, dun sa PSIA. Why? Because with that, you are able to network with like-minded individuals who pwedeng mag-share sa iyo ng information kung ano na yung takbo ng industriya. Magkano na ba ang bayad ngayon sa software engineer? No, magkano na ba ang bayad ngayon sa business analyst, no? At least yung data na yon, even if it's not in the form of something that you pay for in these benchmarking companies, at least mistik ka pa paano may verification coming from people who you know, no? So ako, yun din yung sinasabi ko sa HR eh. Ang HR dapat magsimula ng mag-network. I'm sure marami nang nagde-network dyan. Pero critical yan sa trabaho natin na you have to go and out there and network with your compadres para nakalalaman mo yung takbo ng industriya. Para at least nakakakuha ka ng libreng benchmark, di ba? So alam mo yung salary structure na
Yeah.
tama.
I
No, di
think
ba?
the key there is the personal relationship between the source and the one getting information. Kasi if you look at the surveys, mga official, not all companies give the right information. But if you are close with let's say your HR counterparts, you can easily share, walang lukahan. Diba, George?
Kung tama, mga kumpadre,
You're nodding your
kapanyero
head.
natin.
Oh, yan. Yan, ganyan.
Actually, yung ganun
Right.
naman talaga, networking. Kasi if you have that's why I think that the very essence of having a community is actually, you're in a place, okay, or in a group, like-minded kayo. So, when you share information, nagkakaintindihan kayo at wala nang halong anything, okay? Kasi ako,
Yeah, wala.
I share my salary information. I share salary information from parang my internet clients. Okay, from with other people kasi it also gives me a chance to validate kung ano yung mga ceiling, okay, ano yung range, okay. And hindi siya yung tipong nagsisearch ka lang sa Google kasi minsan padded yung sa Google.
Yeah.
Parang pinapalaki nila yung. So, when you say kasi benchmark, ang automatic na pumapasok sa akin, like sa kay George, is salary. Okay, about salary. Okay. So, yun. It can also mean kasi salary, benchmark of yung profile ng tao, yung skill level niya. Okay. So, yun nga, that's the benefit of being in a network. Okay. Pero dapat, dun sa network na yun, yung information is credible. Okay, yun lang.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
I think
Yes, D.
sige ma'am. I think I've heard kanina no, yung benchmark about sa roles din ng HR. Maybe kasi hindi naglalaro kanina ano ba yung benchmark na proper role or function ng HR. Ako para makatipid no, dahil laking PUP tayo. The best way na ginawa ko before talaga, alam ko papunta na ako ng HR no, nung nag-aaral ako. Naging active ako sa mga HR existing na group. Kaya doon ko una nakilala si Ka Ernie, no? And then you select paano ba siya magtrabaho as an HR practitioner. Kagaya ngayon, no, meron akong composition. Like for example, pag legal considerations, this kind of mentor. Si Ma'am Chris when it comes to pay and salary structure and communication. Sir George for OD, Ka Ernie as a whole na no sa HR. So from there, no, you can derive kung ano ba yung role ng HR or function na pwede mo introduce sa loob ng organization. It is the most cheapest and practical way kung paano mo makuha yung benchmark even if wala kang means to communicate, mahihain ka, ay mo makipag-network. Pero tama si Sir George, no? Na you really have to network just kung mamatay ka kapag wala. No? Parang napakahirap i-practice ng HR nang walang network.
Kasi, can I just give an
please.
example lang? Okay.
Yes.
Kasi like when I started in HR, I was in a creative organization. Okay. So, itong organization na to, okay, among the TV stations, mababa yung salary niya. Okay. So, what I did, kasi gusto ko mapunta sa HR, okay, I was an admin person. Ang admin person kasi is all around. Okay. So, ang ginawa ko, siningit ko yung sarili ko sa isang project. Okay, which was the job analysis and job evaluation project. And what I did, since I have friends, okay, with the other TV stations, inisa-isa ko yung kanilang posisyon and then inisa-isa ko na isulat or tanungin yung kanilang salary. Okay, so i-average mo lang naman yun eh. Okay, and then you look at their job. Okay, their job is description, and you ask them what their other task is. So you have a benchmark of their salary, and then you have a benchmark of their roles. Oh, Di pagdating, kasi wala siyang data. Pagka tiningnan mo kasi yung mga PMAP surveys nun, pagka creative, mababa. Kasi ano siya, nasa isang organization siya na hindi naman yun yung competency. Okay, either nasa isang ano siya, traditional company, tapos nagkataon lang kailangan ng graphic designer. Okay. Pero kasi pag sa TV station, kasi ano siya, competency siya, so may premium yung salary doon. Kasi doon, competency yun yung main, yun yung generating, yun yung operations ng business na yun. So, that's how you look at it, okay? So, kaya yung ginagawa nila at saka yung talagang magtatanong ka, magsusurvey ka, isa-isa mong tatanungin yung mga kaibigan mo o yung network mo, gagawin mo talaga yun. Of course, kung may budget naman kayo, then go to yung buy it, okay, from credible agencies. Yung mga minention ni George. Okay, Ernie?
I was about to tell D, no, why he keeps on calling me Ka-Ernie.
Ewan ko dyan
Ano,
kay T. Ano natin? Kadi.
ano ba, D, ano ba origin yung Ka-Ernie?
Dati sir, nung sa email tayo,
Baka,
nasanay na eh.
Hindi, okay, I will tell you the origin na. Officially to. The first Ka was Danny Pancho. Pag sinabi mong Ka, parang ano yun eh, you're being respectful eh. Because the person is an HR guru, he knows a lot, kahit sagot. The second Ka was Efren Alberto, who was the head of HR of MOG, the one in Baguio, and who eventually became People Manager of the Year. And I was the third. Si Ka James, same fourth. So that was how it started. Kaya yung, kumbaga, ang commonality dyan, lahat matanda.
do not mention age. Okay. So, anyhow, okay. So this one, okay. So we'll just mention, Ken, can you do the honor of asking
Siyempre.
this question?
Excited. Yun yung matutulong ko dito sa discussion natin. Hindi kasi ako HR. Okay. So, ito, question natin coming from Judy. Hi, Judy. Good evening. Do you consider paying additional overtime pay if an employee came to work half day, yet extended his work hours, let's say for 2 hours? Do you consider this as an overtime? Thanks. Yeah.
No, that's easy to answer.
Okay, Ernie, can you expound or can you explain to Judy how to
Okay.
pay?
Okay, this is my simple explanation. Supposing the working hours is from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay? You arrive at 10. You cannot be paid overtime unless you are able to complete 8 hours work. So yung 5 p.m. mo, dapat extend mo na 7 p.m. And overtime should be paid only after 7 p.m., not after 5 p.m.
Because
Yun.
working hours in the Philippines is 8 hours.
It's 8 hours, right?
Yun nga yung ano, kasi
The other companies ang ginagawa, binabawas yung tardiness, tapos binabayaran yung overtime. But I disagree with that style. No? Dapat you should be able to complete 8 hours of work first before you pay overtime.
so kasi pag compensation, okay, lugi kumpanya dito. Kasi pag yung OT rate, may premium yon 25%, okay? Depende pa pagka OT
Yes.
on rest day and ganon. So on a regular day, pagka nag-ano siya, nag-half day siya, tapos may additional 2 hours. So, babayaran mo ng 25% yung 2 hours yun. Lugi yung company. It doesn't make sense mathematically. Okay? Kasi siya yung may kasalanan nito. Bakit siya? Bakit mo siya bibigyan ng 25% reward? So, if you look at the cost of this, okay? Kaya, logic yung sinabi ni Ernie, they are 8 hours in a workday. So, kung half day siya, okay, 4 hours na lang. Pag may additional 6 hours. Extend lang niya. Pero wala na siyang overtime. Ako naman, I will not pay as a compensation person because meron siyang premium rate na 25%.
Madagdag ko lang, perfect sense, no? Yung ganong rational. Pero ako, as an OD person, itong gagawin ko. HR, tignan nyo din yung policy ninyo on tardiness. Baka naman unnecessary, naglalagay ka ng mga tardiness. Tapos, imagine mo yung effort, no, na magbabawas ka, tapos magdadagdag ka rin on the back end, di ba? So, kumbaga, take a look at your policy. Take a look at the policy. Importante dyan, naka 8 hours na work. Kasi that is what is legal, di ba? So, yun nga coming from sabi ni Ernie kanina, simple lang yung sagot, no? Dapat 8 hours ang i-render mo. Pag kunyari, lumampas doon, saka ka magbayad ng overtime. So, if your policy is restricting that, then you have to take a look at it. So, yun yung ano doon.
I think this is where the war begins between line managers and HR people. Okay? It's implementing the overtime policy. Okay? Or the attendance policy. Okay. So, what can management do to make people understand about work hours? Kasi palaging yun yung tinatanong eh. I think I've been also practicing for 25 years. Simula nung naging admin person ako up to now, ganun pa rin ang ang discussion on overtime work. So, what do you think? Why are people always contesting overtime pay and overtime?
Ako, two things, no, Ma'am Chris. First, no, doon sa compliance, no, the owners and again, balik tayo doon sa mga line leaders, they must be equipped kung ano talaga yung regulatory and statutory requirements na sinasabi ng batas. Second is, for the OD side, no, dahil naalala ko palagi si Sir George kapag OD, more on sa workload analysis. Kasi minsan, mali-mali yung identification ng workload. Kaya yung mga tao nag-o-overtime. If the management that doesn't want to pay overtime, magbigay ng pinaka-sound and accurate na analysis about workload. No, kumbaga hindi naman din kasi 'di ba, machine yung katawan natin, napapagod din tayo. Dapat may analysis 'yan, may data. Kung araw-araw, no, for the entire month, lagi pala nag-o-overtime yung empleyado, like let's say 2 hours, bisitahin nila yung workload. Baka mas mainam na instead na mag-overtime yung tao ng 2 hours, mag-hire na lang ng additional manpower. Remember, napapagod din yung katawan natin. And yung productivity natin beyond 8 or 9 hours, bumababa. Kaya may reason bakit ginawa ng Dolly na 8 hours or 9 hours. For sure, no, there is a study about that. Bakit hanggang doon lang yung capacity ng tao?
Chris, can I answer?
Yes, Ernie.
I think the main fuss over overtime is many employees think that their employers are putting one over them. Parang ang pakiwari ko, marami nagdududa eh. Pero probably this experience will tell you why it should not be so. There was a time when I was the vice president of HR in Fujitsu that there was a problem in our payroll system.
Mm-hmm.
So, nagkaloko-loko yung mga computation ng overtime. And you know what happened? There was a big meeting among the senior executives.
Mm.
Ang ginawa namin, all those who have overtime claims, without specifying the reason why they are claiming, binayaran namin lahat. Pag sinabi mong, okay, this is my overtime, etc., etc., on a particular period, we paid all of them. But the effect was outstanding dahil from that time on, the employees trusted us.
Mhm.
That
Mm.
whenever we say, hindi namin to kaya, so they will believe us based on that particular experience. So I
I
think in the final analysis, it's really the honesty and the sincerity to pay the
Mm.
what is due employees.
so George, you have anything to add? Okay. So I think it's establishing kasi a system, okay? So although it cannot be perfect naman all the time kasi it's run by people, okay? But as you know, yung sinasabi natin kay yung triangle ni David Ulrich, okay, you have to be an administrative expert first, okay, before you go to the more strategic goals of HR. So kung yung payroll mo laging nalilate or laging may mali, okay, then the result to employees, okay, it becomes parang ano, there's like no trust in the way you're computing your payroll and in the way you're paying them. So yung example ni Ernie is mistrust, okay, and then when that model company or Fujitsu said, okay,
Mm.
we will recompute everything and then we'll pay you. So it reestablished the trust, okay. Sa isang banda, what D is saying is, okay, well, number one, it's actually workload. So the managers, okay, being the ones na nakatutok sa mga employees, they should be the one assigning the workload. So why would you assign it na imbalance yung team mo? Okay, so dapat you have to apportion it. So the contention is baka hindi talaga sa hindi siya HR or pay issue, but it's more of yung pag-allocate ng work doon sa empleyado ng manager. That's one. Okay. But it can be an HR issue kung mali-mali yung pagka-compute ninyo. Anyway, so let's go to another question. Oh, may nagtanong dito. Ken, yung ano, this is
Yeah.
like, mhm.
Yeah, so may question tayo, no? Sabi dito. Teka lang. Basahin natin yung main question. Okay, this is coming from Jenica. Jenica
Ah,
Jane. Sabi niya, employees have the right to use their leaves po. Di ba? Ayan. Baka magkabaliktad ka pa. Okay. What if nag-file naman ng leave? Example, 3 days, tapos si employee naman meron 10 leaves. And yung supervisor have the right po ba talaga na i-absent yung employee dahil 1 day lang daw approve na yung leave? And wag ipasok yung leave na iba. Example, so magiging absent siya. Pwede po ba talaga yung ganito?
alam mo kasi sa implementation ng leaves, okay, number one is everyone has a certain number of leaves, okay? Tapos, ang HR policy, sinasabi lang naman kasi is you have to file it 3 days before, okay? Well, number one is, ang logic doon is, kasi dapat yung work supervisor dapat nagagaranty niya na on certain days, merong tao yung kanyang department or yung kanyang section. So, yun yung logic on. Ngayon, kasi, basic lang naman yung rule dyan ng HR, 3 days before, basta approve. Okay. Ngayon, kung yung manager mo or supervisor mo sinasabi na ganito, magulo ito. Okay. Dapat hindi ka na lang niya payagan. Okay. Kasi, ang dapat sinabi na lang niya is parang busy ang team natin, hindi po pwede mag-leave. So yon, right yon ng manager or prerogative yon ng manager. Okay, na hindi ka i-approve. So, medyo magulo ito, okay? Pero for me, if I were your manager, I would just declare if the week is busy or the month is busy, then I will not allow people in general to take leaves, okay? Or pwede rin naman kasi workload management na yan eh. merong mga ibang kumpanya per section, ang ginagawa is sinasabi nila, oh, kasi gusto ko may tao dito sa department. So kung po pwede, okay, every 2 weeks, dalawa lang ang pwedeng mag-leave. So that's an internal arrangement, okay, sa section ninyo. Pero hindi na yan company policy. Parang team policy na or parang house rules na ng team ninyo yan. So, to answer,
Chris, in our company before, what we used to do was to schedule leaves at the start of the year.
mas maganda yun.
Like for example, starting with the vice presidents, we were 12 then. At the start of the year, talagang all the months of the year, naka-spread na yan. Parang sa airplane, no two executives should take their leaves at the same time.
Japanese company yan, di ba?
Japanese company yan, ganyan ang mga Japanese companies, very organized.
Yes. So it's a little bit of an organization kasi kailangan makita yung schedule. So it has something to do with yung availability ng manpower.
Unless you will schedule your sick leave.
Yes, i-schedule mo yung LBM mo. Hindi, yung syempre, just to exaggerate the point, okay? I'm actually dito ako cautious in answering this question na pwede po ba talaga ang ganito. Kasi meron akong to be able to answer your question, ano yung sitwasyon ng department nyo, busy ba kayo, etc. Okay? So you have to supply more details in your question. Pero ini-explain namin.
You know, my suggestion there is the employee should not surprise their bosses. Kasi yung iba magpapaalam last minute. Like yung driver ko, halimbawa dati, day off, let's say tomorrow, magpapaalam na ng gabing-gabi ng today. So dapat you give your bosses ample time so that they will be prepared. I think give and take. Right?
Oo. Kasi yung iba naman kasi, ang experience ko, so 7 yung leaves niya, yung vacation leaves. Lahat naman, yung 6 non-emergency leaves. So when you always have an emergency, that's not an emergency anymore.
Yes.
For me, kasi palaging, emergency leave ako. So it's actually more of, kasi simple lang naman kasi yung company policy on the filing of leaves. Di ba, George? Hindi naman yan nitty-gritty na ano yung definition ng emergency. Hindi na naman naggaganon.
Hindi naman talaga dinedefine. So talagang you have to also be very proactive in addressing yung ganyang scenarios.
Okay. So here is a question, okay, with attendance policies. Nagbago ba yon o dapat bang baguhin yon because there's a work from home arrangement?
Ako with my experience na-experience din ng mga clients ko, parang simula na nagkaroon ng work from home, nagdoble yung workload nila. Kasi nga, at any given time, they can be called na. Kasi nga, ang mindset is, nasa bahay ka lang naman eh. So, magchat sa'yo, hihingin sa'yo. Kahit din naman ako, hindi na-experience ko na nawala ng dami ng hours sa dapat you should take care of yourself. Tapos yung kumbaga literally na in and out sa office. So parang gano'n. Gusto ko lang i-revisit rather than doon sa attendance, more on doon sa wellness din ng mga employees. No? Siguro maging results-based tayo ngayon. No? Yun ang tignan. Incomparable din naman doon sa attendance policy that we have. Kasi pwedeng before, present ka, pero yung output mo naman hindi gano'n ka average level yung result niya. No? So parang gusto kong ibangga yung attendance, yung results based sa productivity naman din ng tao. At least pandemic.
So, George, okay, kasi change, okay? So, dapat ba magbago ang attendance policies because nag-change ng work arrangement?
Definitely. For me, kasi again, you have to also take a look at the landscape, no, where you're operating. So, two dynamics, eh. Business landscape is changing and the way people are working are also changing. So, katulad ngayon, lahat naka-work from home. Pero mas stressed ngayon. So, how do you now find balance, no, in trying to make sure na we are all productive and at the same time, meron din namang semblance of compliance, no? So, ako, tama yung sinabi ni Dee, let's take a look at the work. Aralin nating mabuti yung trabaho. Let's see ano din yung mga stress points dun sa work, no? So that at least as HR, we can always tell our managers or the business na, hey, alam mo, hindi na makatarungan yung ganitong 14 hours a day araw-araw. Naka-work from home nga, pero yung tao naman hindi makakilos, no? Ano yung mga pwede nating gawin? So there has to always be that balance. So ako, always be agile enough to look at the lay of the land so that at least regardless of the scenario that's happening, it's still very proactive in addressing both the business and also the employees.
I have a comment, okay? People, because of the change sa work from home, sinasabi nila, ina-attach na palagi yung lang. Kasi work, sa bahay ka lang naman. Okay? So, yung mga ganon. Actually, oo. Ako kasi, regardless of the location, as long as the person works, okay, work pa rin yun, okay? Kasi doon ko nakikita na kaya siya merong disconnect or confusion kasi yung thinking na parang nagkaroon ng vacation time yung mga tao kasi tatrabaho na sila sa bahay. Ako kasi, I'd like to remind you, tayo nagtatrabaho sa bahay ngayon kasi necessity siya. Okay? Kasi it's safer. Okay? So, pagka ganon, wag nating lalanglangin. Kasi actually, baka ayaw nga ng tao magtrabaho sa bahay. Alam mo kung bakit? Kasi masikip ang bahay niya. Okay? Pwedeng ganon, di ba? Number 2, kung siya yung tao na extrovert, gusto niya lumalabas siya. Gusto niya pumuporma siya, magsi-Starbucks siya. So, we have to, kaya nag-react ako dun sa mga, kasi bahay lang naman eh. And it's actually my reaction kasi sinisurvey ko yung sa discussions din sa mga freelance communities, okay? Pag yung freelancer, okay, napunta sa regular work, tapos in-interview ng HR from a traditional company, ang perception is, dapat yung freelancer, cheaper yung pay. Tapos pag napunta ka na sa work, higher yung pay. Hindi ba pareho lang silang professionals?
Chris, I share your opinion on that. I think regardless of the environment, when you talk about attendance and punctuality, they should remain the same.
Because it's work.
Rigid ako when it comes to that. Kasi like in the previous discussion in PHRG, sinabi ba naman ng isang HR na, we allow 1 to 2 hours tardiness. Sabi ko, kaya umalma yung Pennyworth. Are you sure about that? Because he was saying tardiness is tardiness by any language.
Well, you're
Even
late.
me when I was VP of HR in Fujitsu, I do not allow grace period of 15 minutes.
Pag Japanese company, I work in a Japanese company, they expect you to be 10 minutes early than the start time. Kasi pag dumating ka ng 5 minutes before your reporting time, you're already late.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oo. They're very I mean, I think it's one of it's parang I like it because everything kasi is spelled out, especially pag
Yeah,
pag
yeah,
attendance.
yeah.
Okay. So that's the take on uh, overtime pay, okay, and then leave, okay, applications. Okay. So Ken, there's there a question pa?
Yeah, we have a question, no? Sige. Basahin ko lang. Wait lang. Coming from Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Sabi niya, for the three speakers, what is your take on this? I know a lot of companies who's operating for more than 10 years and more. But these companies do have a lot of issues in their org culture. And yet they survive the operations and their business is doing well. Some companies don't even have HR people or department and yet operating for years and doing well. Thank you. Yeah.
Can I have a follow up question on that? How does Michelle know that the company is doing well? Or the question could be, could the company be doing better?
Hmm. Okay.
Right? Can the company be doing better if you have an HR? Because if you're talking of HR, you have to talk about the competency level. And among competencies, you have basic, competent, advanced, and expert. You have to have at least 25 to 30 years before you reach the advanced stage. So what I'm saying is that you may think that the company is doing well,
Mm-mm.
but definitely it will do better if you have an HR who is in an advanced competency stage. That's my thinking.
So, sobrang agree ako doon.
Ah,
Ito for me naman, so sabi ni Ernie nga is competency level. Sa organizations, it's what you call maturity level. So, I mean, if they don't have the HR, they might, same question baka naman they might be doing better if they had.
Yes,
So,
yes.
kumbaga, their maturity level might have already reached stellar heights or are higher. Actually maganda yung tanong eh. Tinignan ko yung analogy. O nga naman, no, kunyari karinderya ka, no? Kasi wala namang HR yun, di ba? It's an organization, no? You deliver. Magulo minsan, may kultura yan, pero surviving. Pero what if, for example, the person who's manning that karinderya decided na hindi, one of these days I would like to create a franchise. I would like to grow bigger. Sayang, di ba? So yung opportunity hindi mo nakuha. But if it was just a matter of, sige, survival, okay ka na doon, well, saludo ko. I mean, ma-happy ka na sa ganung Pero I would still go back to the question of earning nga kanina. How would you know? Di ba? May metrics ba tayo? What is the barometer to say that this organization was doing well, plus the culture was okay, even if meron siyang mga issue tsaka magulo siya. So yun lang yung natin.
George, why did I not discover you before?
Ayan na, may partnership na.
Partner na yan. So,
Ako naman,
you know-
may take, no, is a combination.
You know, I like sensible people.
sensible kami lahat dito sa HR.
Yes, sir.
At lahat naman puro sensible. Ano pa?
Not only are we young, we're sensible.
They should come more often, sir.
Anyway, Dee, you were saying
Well,
something.
yeah, may take lang. Same, no, both, no, with Ka-Arnie and Sir George. You know, when Sir George had mentioned the maturity level, I agree. Tsaka doon sa nagtanong kasi alam mo, hands-on experience ako. Before, talagang same scenario ha. They are existing, ang galing-galing nila. Pero yung question ko doon sa natin, or respondent sa activity ngayon is, meron ba silang gaano ba kadami yung sena nila. Kasi it could be, no, it could look like na okay ka, your operations and business is doing well, pero yung number of cases mo naman sa dole, kamusta ba? So parang
Oh.
gano'n na ba? Parang, di ba?
Right.
O yung compliance nila sa health and
Right.
safety, ang daming ano dyan eh, no? Ang daming it involves. Kaya nga magandang question ni Ka Ernie, what more kung meron? What more kung meron? Tsaka we are not assured na porket 10 years ka na nag-exist, and when it comes to sustainability, no, nakalugtong sa maturity level ni Sir
Yes.
George, no? Yung sustainability, hindi mo siya mapipredict. Diba?
Yes.
Dahil dapat palagi kang mayroon plan for that. And to do that, no, you really need yung mga HR people to help you with that.
Yeah.
Kasi itong tama naman yung ni-raise nyo. So the devil is in the details, okay?
Mhm.
So how can you say that it was doing better or is doing well? Okay? Kasi that can be a marketing illusion, okay? Nakita mo lang madaming press release, okay? Palaging present sa job fair, okay? Very prominent ang nila, ang presence nila sa mga events, okay? So that creates an illusion of doing better, okay, than your counterparts, okay? Pero inside your company, okay, nakita mo ba yung CR niyan? Okay, malinis ba yung CR niyan? Okay? Second is, okay, yung financials niyan, okay, magkano yung debts niyan? Okay, hindi mo alam. Okay, so ano yung definition natin ng doing well? Of course, they survived, okay? Pero yung mga details na yan, that we don't know, okay? But if you hire professionals or HRs, okay, also finance managers, okay, those combination, okay, of people will actually propel that company to even bigger heights, diba? Or higher heights, okay? So, yun, okay? So, kasi nakita ko yan kasi, nakikita ko yung mga past companies ko, okay? Minsan dinadaan na lang sa job street, yung laki ng ad, etc. But I do know because I was there, okay, that it's not perfect. And no company is perfect. Diba? That's why we have HR people, that's why we have finance people, we have business process people, diba? Kasi they improve the internal processes within the.
Yeah.
So, there. So, are there any more questions, Ken?
Wala na. Yun lang naman. Siyempre, hi muna tayo kay Jake. I'm watching daw, sabi ni Jake Q. Yan.
Madaming mga questions ngayon. Okay. But anyway, okay, just to remind you, okay, so the first two people who asked the questions, okay, so Miss Santillan, okay, and then there was another one. Okay, they will be getting a free book from us.
Nice.
Okay, so
Perfect.
that's courtesy of RGO Review Center. Okay,
Uy, wow, nice.
ito yung psychology pearls and psychology nuggets. Okay, so kasi maganda yung mga tanong nila, so they get those books.
Okay, Sarah tsaka kay Judy.
Judy. Okay, so please get in touch with me at the end of the FB Live.
Yun.
Okay, so anyhow, so ito naman, okay, moving forward, okay, so ito na ngayon, kasi yung mga tao nagtatanong, okay, this is a basic question, pero people are asking, ano ba yung strategic HR na yan? Okay, tapos para gawin yan sa isang company, kailangan ba palagi mag-hire ng consultant? So, I think Ernie, do the honor of answering this one.
Okay. When you talk about strategic HR, it means growing the business through HR initiatives. And I have 4 questions regarding that. No? Where are we? Okay. Which is situational analysis. Where do we go? Objective setting. How do we get there? Strategic formulation. And are we on the right track? Monitoring system. So when you take a look at the cycle, and when you are able to grow the business, through HR initiatives. That's plain and simple strategic HR. That's it.
And do we always have to hire a consultant for that?
Okay. You hire a consultant if your head of HR is lousy.
Ang sakit naman ka, Ernie.
Yeah, plain and simple. If your head of HR is lousy, you hire a consultant. Eventually, the HR consultant, like what happened to me in the past, replace the head of HR.
Oh, yon.
Man pakinggan pero sobrang totoo. Totoo yun.
Okay, so yan na talaga ang sagot dyan. Okay, kasi we've received that question. When should we hire an HR consultant? So, ibig sabihin, pag ikaw yung HR head at nag-hire ka ng HR consultant, naku.
Ako, contextualize lang yung sinabi ko earlier. What he said was really good. Pero very simple word lang. If there is no growth, pag walang growth, ibig sabihin the strategy is not being executed correctly. Especially if you're an HR person. And example na lang, para lang everyone can relate. Marami dyan sinasabi, hey, our company grew. No? Nag-grow kami ng headcount. Ha? So, ibig sabihin, nag-grow ka lang ng headcount? Growth na yun. Grow ba yan ng skills? Nag-grow ba ng equity yan? How is your customers? How is the performance? So, yun, pag ganon yung thinking at growth lang na, hindi, lumaki lang kami, lumobo lang yung headcount, actually, nagdala pa yun ng problema sa kumpanya. Bakit ang dami mong babayaran? Pero when you say na we grew both in breadth and in depth, no? But with existing headcount, yan ang strategic HR. You were able to facilitate that growth dun sa kumpanya na without spending extra headcount. And yun yung sinasabi ni Ernie kanina. Pag hindi kaya ng HR gawin yun, ibig sabihin may problema. Baka pwede kang kumuha ng consultant. So you look at the growth, the way the trajectory happens. No? So yun yung natin.
So, hindi lang yan yung basta nag-increase ng headcount. Okay.
Exactly. Hindi lang basta lumobo yung headcount. Maraming dimensions.
Ako naman, sige na.
Yes, D.
Ako naman as a practitioner, dapat continuous yung learning and growth mo, no? Sabi ni Sir George. Kasi I've also experienced na yung first client ko na group of companies in Bulacan. They're more into poultry sa chicken. Yung HR head doon, no, is being replaced na when I came there. Kasi hindi na matutukan yung mga intervention. And no, I would agree na sana if nag-evolve sana yung HR head doon, no, sa client, sa current na yung client ko before, no. Sana hindi na nila kinailangan ng HR and we should have, no, sinasabi din ito ni Rich na we should have a catalogs of HR practices, no. Kitang-kita mo yung mga best practices na yan and it's either you align, you integrate or innovate, no, kung ano yung mga practices na yon from the outside in. On proper execution talaga, no, yung effectiveness execution mo is very highly necessary for that.
Okay, so Ken, there's a question here. I think that's the last question.
Yeah, we have our last question for the night, siyempre. Tanong sa atin is, wait lang, double check ko lang. Alright, this is coming from Maria Lolita. Sabi niya, what is the best strategy to involve the top management in all the programs recommended by the HR department? Yan lang.
So, what is the best way to convince top management? Okay.
Wow.
George? Okay.
Muna.
Kasi may movement ka eh. So,
ikaw kagad.
Maganda pa yung mga sagot ng kasama natin dito. Pero just very quickly lang. Kausapin niyo si Ken. Kung you really want to, hindi ako. Bakit?
Tama.
One skill that's important right now in order for you to convince top management, and Kasi alam ko problema inherent yan sa mga HR ngayon. Ang tigas ng ulo ng mga may-ari, ang tigas ng ulo ng mga top management, paano ba sila mako-convince? Iba sila eh. Di ba? Yun lang lagi eh. You need to know the skill of persuasion and influence. How do you convince them? Through languaging. So doon na nga yun, I'm not promoting Ken's work, but yun ang critical dyan. As an HR professional, you should be able to influence. Hindi ka pa pwedeng basta-basta naisip mo, ay hindi, ito dapat ang gagawin mo. Pag matigas ang ulo mo, di ba? Wala, hindi magkagalit tayo, hindi pwedeng gano'n. So I think doon pumapasok yung skill of influencing. So, yun lang yung sa akin, yun lang yung sa akin. I'm sure marami pa kayong mabibigay.
City, I
Yeah.
know it kasi you've been proposing, 'di ba, sa job evaluation. It
Yes,
can be well, sometimes 'di ba nag-job evaluation na kayo tapos wala pa lang pera. Okay, but paano ka how do you convince management to go on with their program kung
Actually,
pagkaganyan?
from the start, no, even if kahit ng full-time ako sa isang manufacturing company, sa Taiwanese kong boss, which is very strict talaga sa pera, no, talagang iniiyakan ko yung kahit 2,000 pesos na request for training budget ko. Ako na lang yung nagpapaluan. Napansin ko, no, when I applied, kasi idol ko si Jack Phillips, in terms of 5 levels of training, no, yung ROI. When I tried applying yung ROI sa training, sa request letter ko, pinakita ko muna yung benefits. Tapos yung return ng 2,000, hindi ako absent for 1 month, etc. no. Napakadali niyang i-approve yung mga budget. No, from there, sa mga clients na hinahandle ko, pinapakita ko talaga yung mga benefits, no. Na talagang ano yung returns nun, no, in terms of maybe tangible or intangible man. So pagdating naman sa job evaluation, true, totoo, na there are maybe 3 na sa clients ko na after the results, binayaran ako pero hindi naman sinunod din yung lumabas na result dahil nga wala palang budget at the end. So what I have discovered is kung ano yung nila na kaya nilang budget for that. Gamit ka lang ng statistics and measurement. Marami naman dyan na available na formula for GE. No? So yan, i-pattern mo lang doon sa capacity ng organization to pay or budget kasi minsan yung language ng mga boss natin nasa business side talaga no. So kailangan sumunod din tayo doon sa way how they think. I also agree no, tama si Sir George kasi nga minsan I also find it difficult to persuade yung mga nasa top management. So meron din kasing science diyan na alam kong ang master diyan si Brother Ken no, yung sa persuasion and influence. Kaya may mga pag-aaral yan talaga no, sineparate na from sa field ng discipline or science no. Sometimes other are using NLP or other persuasive and influence skills na very rare yung ganyang skills So it also necessary to partner with them. No, para at least kapag meron kang proposal, may mga stiff talaga na personality kasi we cannot blame them naman kasi matagal na yung nila yung personality nila. So you need someone who specializes in that particular aspect.
How about Ernie?
Modesty aside, no. If you are head of HR, you would have already established yourself in the company. So on day 1 pa lang, kakausapin ko na yung CEO. When it comes to HR, you will follow me. So, all the presidents that I've served, nakikinig lahat Well, not for anything else, but that's the fact.
I have a suggestion. You have to be married to the CEO.
Yes. Yes.
Literally, I'm married to the CEO. So.
Figuratively.
No, but you have to marry the CEO
Yes.
kasi you have to be of one mind
you have to know how to manage the CEO.
Yes, sir.
So that's the only way. Kasi it's important to have the nod of the of the owner. Okay. So, ako kasi, a lot of young HRs, okay, if like sa supervisor or sa managerial. So, this is what I do. If you're applying to a company, you have to gauge, okay? You have to use the recruitment process during your interview to gauge, okay? You can qualify, okay, with your technical skill. Pero you, at the back of your mind, you have to also discern if this is the company that you want to work for. Kasi kung nakikita mo na dead end sila, okay, lahat, if you're a passionate HR, masasayang ka doon. So, ako yun lang yung sagot ko doon. And then yung second nga, once you're in, okay, so of course, when you're in, of course, you would not get to that position if you don't have the trust of the CEO. Kasi
Yes,
it's
exactly.
impossible. Diba? It's impossible that you will not, okay, that the CEO will not have a hand in hiring.
Hmm.
And then, of course, we have yung, kasi yung languaging presentation, okay, that's actually not, I mean, that's also for the CEO, but that's for the people around you, okay, kasi you have to get the support of, okay, the other managers. So, parang holistic tayo. You have the blessing from the top, and then you have the, the support of the people around you. Okay, so it makes for a winning, 'di ba, program. Kasi baka yung iba hindi nag-a-agree, 'di ba? And then there are mga politics, yung mga internal politics, etc. So that's how to actually implement a program. So I think may pahabol pa na question, Ken.
Sige. Sige, let's read the question coming from Sarah. Okay, just give me a second here. Okay, last question. Yan. Have you encountered companies who implemented a talent rotational program? Is it effective? Where do I start if I want to come up with a program? Yeah.
Talent
What we,
rotational program.
what we had lang before, no, in a manufacturing company, we have tried, no, in talent rotational program for a very specific skills lang, yun nasa 9. No. Maybe siguro before I left, gumana naman siya ng 2 years. No? So parang we rotate people from one section to another. Kasi we have found out from, based on our survey, na people get bored na talaga. No? And in yung productivity nila, nagda-down, dumadami din yung defects and rejects namin. So through rotation, no, yung skills rotation namin, no, from one section to another, no, ginagawa namin siya. Pero may concern lang kami doon sa result kasi every time that we do the yung job yung skills rotation rather, not totally the specific job role, bumababa yung bumababa yung productivity. No? So parang it may sound good for people, no, para ma-solve yung issue namin when it comes to engagement, yung mini-measure namin from survey na hindi sila mabore. Pero when it comes to number of units, hindi siya positively okay. No, every time na we do that. Yun lang yung experience ko. No? I cannot say for the entire practice, yung theory niya, kung tama or not. Pero yun lang yung gusto kong ikwento for skills rotation.
Okay, how about Ernie? So ito yung tipong assigning people to different functions, okay, hoping that they develop that skill. So yun yung definition. So
I am in favor of that only for lower level employees, but not the higher level.
kasi masyadong complex.
It's quite risky. Complex and risky.
Kasi kung specific skills yung for routine jobs, okay, pwede yon. Like, mga hard skills. Like, for example, okay, ito, kasi sa arts okay, creative design, graphic design. Okay. Pwede siya Okay, effective siya. Pero yung iba, like, yung mga sinasabi natin na hindi naman siya technical in nature, okay? Like, example, decision making. You cannot have somebody decide for someone, di ba? So, yun. Okay. So, anyhow, okay, so, I think the questions have been addressed, okay? So, all in all, okay, so, I'll ask the panelists here, okay, moving forward, okay. So how can HR contribute to a company's recovery plan for the next normal? So I think George is having a problem with his signal. So how about you, Ernie? Okay, so moving forward, because everyone's talking about the next normal, the new normal,
Mhm.
etc.
I have three basic questions, no, to answer that. How do we now look at the angle of occupational health and safety
Mhm.
in relation to COVID-19?
Mhm.
How do we relate, for instance, work at home or work from home with organization culture? And third, how can we possibly determine the degree of employee engagement when you're talking of people working at different locations? Those three.
So those are more of questions, okay, that the HR must
Well, if
think
you
about.
answer that, you should be able to address several concerns.
So how about you, D?
I agree with Ernie when it comes to health and safety, but the holistical approach for the organization wide is we must take a look at what are those catalogs of again doon pa rin ako sa best practices of other companies o kahit sa Western kung ano yung nagawa nila successfully, and we must align these ng practices or intervention that we could think of better sa people performance communication and work natin. Is either we have to align, integrate, and innovate for us to sustain yung organization. Again, for me, very important din yung inventory ng mga competencies, compliance, lalo na sa inilalabas ng IATF. Kasi doon talaga tayo magsisimula. Hindi siya dapat ilagay sa ilalim, pero siya talaga yung dapat na nasa top pyramid natin kung ano yung mga safety protocols muna. And then from there, we create our own strategy na internally. And gusto ko lang din bigyan ng ng emphasis si David Rich na sa book niya ng HR Transformation, gusto niya sabihin na from the outside, we must bring from inside, from the outside inside. So ano yun, hindi lang naman yung technical practice ng mga HR, but also yung socio-economic, yung society natin, ano ba yung mga impact ng businesses natin doon sa society na ginagalaw natin. Kasi possible din, baka mag-full workforce nga yung isang plantation or company, for example, pero it could affect naman pala doon sa community where the company is located. So we must look holistically not only doon sa business side ng company na gustong kumita talaga, follow pa rin tayo doon sa pinaka-general rule natin sa safety protocol.
Okay, so it starts with actually, assisting the company, be a facilitator of trying to paint your future for the next normal and your operations for the next normal. And then, yun yung sabi ni Ernie. And then, yung second is, you have to look at, the external factors that affect your business, So, don't exist in in a vacuum, You have to see your company in relation with the others in the industry or in the external environment. So, wow. Okay. So we had a very long discussion about going back to the basics, and defining the purpose of the HR department, Ernie and E. Okay. And unfortunately, I think George had a technical issue. Okay. So he won't be with us when we say our farewell. Okay. So, but anyhow, do you have upcoming webinars that we can announce? So, Ernie. So, what will you be doing in the next weeks?
I don't have any, but I continue to write books.
I see. Okay. So we're looking forward. So I see that you had two textbooks. Okay. And then you actually are a mentor to most HR professionals. Okay.
Thank you.
So that's why Dee is here, because Dee was raving about you, and then
Oo.
he actually
Actually, ano eh.
volunteered.
Oo, kasi feeling ko nga
The actually, D is the president of my fans.
feeling ko ngayon, Ernie, summa cum laude na. Sobrang since
but
1998, 1999.
seriously, I'm very proud of D. He has come a long, long way.
Thank you, Ernie. Salamat.
And
Yeah, you're
we
welcome.
actually, and we're honored, Ernie, that you said yes to our invitation.
Oh,
Mhm.
my pleasure and my honor. Anytime, Chris. You're a
Okay.
good person, and I like you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And yes. How about you, T? Do you have upcoming webinars?
Yes, gusto ko lang bigyan ng focus. Meron kaming venture called Ofisina Resources Corporation. We are located here in Binyan, Laguna. It is a co-working space. Please mag-rent po kayo, napakamura lang, libre kape. No, so we also cater virtual offices. So if you are a startup venture, you have a bakery, no, our top tax consultants are very much likely to help you, no, when it comes to business registration. We are located walking distance lang from Perpetual Health. Ayan. So, see you soon sa mga companies or clients who would like to acquire a learning venue here at Ofisina Resources.
Oh, wow. So we do hope that people will be able to go to that direction, okay, with their projects. And if like they have businesses, okay, they can get in touch with you. How about you, Ken?
Yun. Ongoing pa yung yung NLP certification program na
Nice.
running pa rin. So medyo up till the end of March, hi sa mga classmates kung bago dyan. Alright, tapos siguro planning again, probably by June or July, we're probably launching hypnotic communication masterclass again. Marami nagtatanong sa amin on how hypnosis works, how to use neurolinguistic programming to actually program behavior, not just for mental health, but also for sales, business, and negotiation and persuasion. And titingnan namin. I'm gonna be working, of course, with partner conversational hypnotists here in the Philippines, si Dr. Strix Toledo and Luigi Manyoza. And we're gonna plan it again. Excited to do it. Pero yun
Yes.
lang.
So I attended that last year, yung seminar nyo on hypnotic communication, and you will learn a lot about first is languaging, okay, persuasion,
Covert,
and
yeah.
other stuff, okay, other stuff that are not taught in normal workshops.
Manipulation. Right, dala. Kasama yun, manipulation.
Okay. So actually we had a blast. Okay. It was a busy Saturday for me. Okay. So I would like to congratulate the team of Rylandel, the Dococo, and Edwin Alulod. Okay. So
Yay.
they are the ones, okay, that sponsored my talk on Empowered and Connected, how to be a better people manager this pandemic. So we had a blast earlier this afternoon. And of course, okay, we would like to invite our viewers. If you're not yet a subscriber, I'd like to invite you on our YouTube channel. So our past FB lives are there. Okay, so you can just browse through. Okay, so it's a documentation of all our interviews since, okay, even before the pandemic. We started October 2019. Okay, we're slowly uploading those episodes on YouTube. So why don't you subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber? www.youtube.com/HRShouts and Whispers. Yun. And if you have still a lot of questions on your mind, please don't hesitate contacting us, okay, or posting your questions on HR Shouts and Whispers community page here on Facebook. Okay, so thank you, Dee, and thank you, Ernie.
Thank you. Ernie, thank you.
Thank you, DI. Take care, stay safe.
Okay,
Stay
and
safe, sir.
Ken, okay, stay safe, okay, and then
Broken.
on
Go.
Monday, don't forget there's a curfew na, okay?
May curfew ulit.
So wag kayo lalabas ng 10 p.m., okay? Up to 5 a.m. Okay.
Okay.
But I hope that you stay safe, okay? And 2 more discussions to come. Okay,
Yeah.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.